Hey, first off, thank you so much, Aidan, for joining us today. Where are you at, man? It looks like is that the ocean behind you?
That is the ocean. That's the Aidan Ocean. It's my own one. I organized it for today.
So it's not one of
Yeah.
these like, fancy Zoom backgrounds.
No, it's real. It's a real ocean back here.
All right.
Yeah.
You're
So
not sitting in your mom's basement. All right, good.
I'm in Spain actually right now. So, or it's the best Zoom virtual background of all time. One or the other. I'll let you decide that.
That's awesome, man. Well, first off, thank you so much for jumping on our podcast here today. For those of you guys who don't know Aidan or you've never been exposed to him or his content or what he preaches, fantastic guy. I've known him for years. We've literally traveled all over together. Been really blessed and fortunate to just see the way that he interacts with people and his ability to really dive deep into the souls of people and really dissect what it is that they're dealing with from an internal perspective and really extract the greatness out of people. And I'd be lying if I said that I haven't myself applied some things that I've learned along the way just by spending a lot of time with him. So I hope
Very kind of you to say.
I set the expectation really high today, Aidan, for people that are tuning into this. So I need you to deliver.
You're about to overpromise and hopefully overdeliver, right? It's a new combo that we have.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, the biggest reason why I wanted you to come on today was really the growth that we've had at our own company, right? Going from 5 partners to over 100 employees. There's problems that from an internal perspective with your employees that you never even think about until you're actually in the weeds and the trenches with them and you start seeing things arise on a day-to-day. I've started to really value people like yourself who help people with things like self-confidence and self-image, right? Because if somebody's self-confidence is low or somebody's self-image is low, it's going to ultimately affect their output at work on a day-to-day basis, right? I'm constantly educating myself on what are the types of things that I can do to pull them out of that situation, right? Or pull them out of that headspace. And in my opinion, you're an expert in this area. So I wanted you to come on today. If I'm dealing with this issue, I'm sure a lot of people out there are dealing with this issue. So I just wanted to kind of talk back and forth on, what is self-confidence? What is, self-image, and how can somebody wake up every day and just have the best one possible?
Yeah, I mean, it's a deep question. We could go as deep as the ocean behind me answering that. We could be here for days. But I mean, if I could sum it up in a couple of ways, the biggest thing in terms of entrepreneurs, I would say, and sales people and people who want to master sales and influence, I think is having the real self-confidence, which is the truth, which I call it. For the last couple of years, I've been talking to a lot of people about finding their truth, because I think a lot of salespeople, a lot of entrepreneurs or people who want to be entrepreneurs, they have this idea of what that should look like, what that should sound like. And it's so artificial. And you've probably experienced it many, many times, even yourself early on, that we all have, when we're trying to fake it to make it. We're trying to be this person, right? To go out and sell. We're trying to be this person to build a business. But unfortunately, I always compare it like a bottle of water. And if you stab a couple of holes in the bottle of water, the water's leaking out. That's like your self-image, your self-confidence. If you're not full from the inside, if you're trying to be someone that's really not in alignment with you, so you're waking up every day and you don't feel that powerful version of yourself. You don't feel like this is going to be the best day ever. And it's because there's water constantly pouring out of you like a bottle with holes in it. And it's because you haven't got that foundation. You haven't found your truth. You're not in alignment with actually who you're meant to be. So a lot of work I do with guys is actually, let's really strip away all the bullshit for a second. And let's find out who you actually are and where you want to go and where you want to be. I think a lot of people lack that vision, and the vision I call as an anchor to keep you on track. A lot of people don't have that because they don't have their truth. They're not in alignment.
Yeah, they haven't discovered that. Now, do you started talking about entrepreneurs. Do you think that every person is cut out to be an entrepreneur? Or do you think that some people just don't have that fabric?
It's a great question. And, for me, I always say the word entrepreneur to me means responsibility. So I think, that's my interpretation of taking responsibility for your life, taking responsibility for your output, for how your lifestyle is, right? And I think everybody has the potential to take responsibility for their life. So in that sense, I think everybody can be an entrepreneur. Then there's levels to it. I always say there's levels to this, right? Like just certain things people can't account for, like a certain level of charisma, that's just in them. Like what you have when you speak to people. Like I've seen you when you came to visit me in Miami, when I was living in Miami. We had a couple of beers, as we do occasionally, not feeling the best the next morning, but you were hammering out calls. Even though you weren't feeling up to scratch, you could still deliver probably on a higher level than most people, right? Because you have that certain level of charisma, but also because you were in alignment doing what you love, doing what Cody Harvey does. You know what I mean? You know who you are for a long time. So I think there's some people who wake up and have the perfect morning routine, 8 hours of sleep, fully hydrated, and they're not as good on a sales call.
Mm.
They're not as good building their business. Why not? Well, it's because they're so far out of alignment. They are who people tell them they are. They are who people tell them they should be. And for me, it's about getting out of the head into the heart. And I know that's a bit, you might, these young guns, they don't want to hear that kind of stuff. But the sooner you can get out of your head and back into your heart, into who you truly are, now we have real power. Now we can turbocharge your performance. Now we can find out now you're asking questions, you're finding different answers, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah. So in essence, one person could essentially force themselves to be good, right? Versus if they actually knew what their truth was, right? They would just naturally be great.
Exactly. And they would have to, even if they're not naturally great at that level, because maybe they still have some traumas, patterns, programs that haven't been healed or identified, they have the potential to be great. That's the difference. So I think that high level of performance, like Steve Harvey says, what do you do best with the least amount of effort? That's your gift gift from God, right? Yeah. And I think, people are trying to find, especially entrepreneurs, if you're in network marketing or any of these business or any type of entrepreneurial venture and you're listening to people, gurus on YouTube, they're always talking about finding your why, right? The problem is they're finding the why from the head of who they think they should be or who people tell them or what their belief system will see. You'll never outperform your identity. And the people that's where we talked about self-image even a little bit before we went live, before we put on recording, that the self-image, you can never outperform that. So we really have to get clear on who we are really. And then we can start to bring up the performance. Once we get that identity right, once we get that truth right, because you will never act too far away from who you believe you are and what you're capable of.
I love that. Man, tell people who are watching this who you are, right? Like, how did you get to where you're at? Right? Like, obviously, You're an Irish guy, tons of fun, very charismatic. But tell us a little bit about your background and your story.
So, my background is health and fitness. In 2006, 2007, I was running gyms in Ireland. I was managing gyms and I loved it. And even though, it was, again, working with people, which I didn't know at the time, but that was my truth, right? And in 2009, in the midst of the worst recession, and Ireland was pretty badly hit as well, I decided to go working on cruise ships. And when I was working on the ships, even though I was a personal trainer or a health and wellness consultant, as it was called, my job was sales. So our cruises went Sunday to Sunday, and we had 4,000 guests every 7 days. So no matter how, you had to be ready every Sunday for 4,000 new people. And then I would put on free seminars throughout the cruise, okay, on health, wellness, nutrition, all that kind of stuff. And then from the talk, I would have to give such a killer talk that they would all book in one-to-one with me for a consultation. And from that consultation, then I would have to, recommend and sell the products based on their needs. Now, my targets were $15,000, $16,000 a cruise, okay? But the only problem was people were only on the ship 3 days, because when the ship is in port in St. Thomas or whatever, St. Martin, everyone's off the ship. I can't sell. So I had to sell $14,000, $15,000, $16,000 within 2-3 days and then try and close on the last night of the cruise. So, long story short, within 3 months, I was out of 147 ships. I was the top sales. They offered me they put me on a brand new ship. I hadn't even sailed yet. And by the end of that contract, they offered me any ship in the world. They even said there's one coming by Cork in Ireland you can jump on, because usually you have to pay for your flights. They said there's a ship in Ireland you can jump on, no cost, pick any ship you want, whatever it is. So, a friend at the time gave me a book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, in 2009, 2010, Robert Kiyosaki, right? And when I read that book, I made a decision. I said, I'm going all in on myself, because if I keep working for money, I'm limited. And I never liked working for other people anyway. I never met a person that deserved to be in charge of me. I never met a person I felt deserved to be in charge of me. So when I read that book in 2010, I made a decision to go out on my own. And because I was a good speaker, like, that's my home on stage. And you've witnessed me on stage in Naples, and we had a lot of fun. So that's why I'm home. So I made a decision then, and I went out and I built a network marketing business initially, because that was what I could do with small amount of money. And I could build it up, right? And because I was a good speaker, I very quickly became the speaker within the company. I traveled all over the world for years. And then the skills I learned building that business, and I struggled for years to get that duplication, right? But I was a great speaker, a great presenter. I was building the business around the world. But the skills I had to learn to develop my own team, and I built a team up to 15,000, which was in Ireland, which, wasn't easy, but I did it. And those skills kind of helped shape me along the way, combined with, speaking. So for me, I suppose that's how I got to where I am today. And, along that journey around 2014, I became a professional coach, business and personal coaching. And I'm a big fan of coaching, asking the right questions as opposed to telling people, managing. I'm much more a fan of the leadership way, you know, of guiding people, understanding other people, having empathy. That's the way to keep the performance within building a team.
Yeah, and I think what's unique about what you do, Aidan, is it's not just laser focused on, hey, I'm going to teach you how to be the best CEO or the best business owner. Yes, if you apply the principles that you learn from you, right? Like you'll be the best version of yourself in those respective areas. But this is going to teach you, for me, like how to be the best father, how to be the best husband, how to be the best boss, how to be the best CEO, right? All the way across the board. And that goes for, women as well, how to be the best mom, how to be the best wife. And I think so many people, man, a younger generation, right? Like they're out here, they're searching for stuff. They're searching for things. They're searching for these accomplishments and these materialistic things that literally have no value. And they learn that the hard way, right? And it's because they don't know at the core of who they are, what's important and what's not, right? And I think you're able to help them kind of see, that they're valued, right? Like they are already valued. They're already worth it. But here's the things that have to take place in order for you to go from, A to Z or 0 to 100, right? Like there's a blueprint that has to be followed. And there's a new paradigm that has to take place, that has to shift in order for you to step into that true alignment with what your destiny is, correct?
100%. And I mean, I think that's why I have a unique perspective that, being in sales early on, being in the health and fitness business, then building a business myself, and then doing other businesses throughout the journey. And, you and me have done some business together. I love that I had to walk the walk as well.
Sure.
And that's just how I guess when I work with entrepreneurs or people who are professionals, I can bring their truth to the surface very quick because I know I've been there.
You know what to
I know
look
it.
for. You know what to look for. You know when
I don't have to look for it.
Yeah, you're like, man, like I see right through that. That's a lie. Don't do that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. And I've had calls earlier today with a couple of guys, and I can see straight away. I know why they're doing what they're doing. And, that comes from experience, but also comes from, what's innate in me as well. And, you tap into this higher self, this higher level of consciousness, which is a very real thing. And you do that through awareness, through listening, through asking, through searching, through seeking. Seeking, you shall find. Knocking, it shall be open to you, And that's the key, really. And I think that everybody has that voice to call, but who hears it? And my job, my mission is to guide people to ask them the right questions so they can find that truth within themselves. But then have to give them the accountability and the strategy to execute. Because I don't care about making you feel good, Cody. I don't give a shit about making you feel good. I care about your results. I want your transformation. So I'm going to call you out on all that crap, because it's easy to read a book and listen to an audiobook or a podcast and feel good. But how can we implement the change immediately? You understand? And then that's what's most important, is the execution.
Sure. Yeah. And I think, the deeper I dive down the entrepreneurship hole and find myself involved in various projects, I used to think like the whole coaching thing was a scam, right? Like, oh, I'm going to pay somebody to help guide me. Like, no, I'm good. Right. Yeah. But then I realized that the greatest of the greats, right? Literally every great athlete, every great entrepreneur, if you look at them, they all have, whether you call them coaches, whether you call them trainers, whether you call them mentors, right? They have people that are looking out for their blind spots, right? Because even if you're on a trajectory, if you've discovered your truth, right? Life is evolving every day. Like you're going to have things thrown at you every single day. And because you're so focused on what God's called you to do, right? In my perspective, it's easy to not see something that's coming from the left or coming from the right that can deviate you away from that trajectory, right? So, I think really coaches like you do two things. The first thing is that you really help extract greatness out of people by getting rid of all the BS, helping them see who they are and what they're meant for, and then helping them, to your point, execute. But then the second thing is you're constantly looking out on their behalf to make sure that they're avoiding all of the roadblocks and things that are going to hinder their growth. Would you agree?
Absolutely. And I think the biggest, issue today is everybody calls themselves a coach. But the actual modality of coaching is very different than mentoring. So coaching is a modality that can be applied to any industry because it's about asking questions. A professional coach will ask the right questions to bring the answers out of you, right? The mentoring is me teaching what I'm an expert at. So Cody Harvey's an expert at certain things. You can, me as a coach, all I can do is bring your expertise to a higher level. As a mentor, I can only mentor you on things I'm an expert at. So if you came to me and said, I want to be a better speaker, I want to learn leadership skills, I want to learn XYZ that I have expertise in, I can mentor you on that. Just like you can mentor someone on, whether it's your lead gen, whether it's on social media, whether it's on brand management, whether it's on sales, you're an expert in that. You can mentor people on that. Whereas I have that mentoring experience, but the coaching is so priceless because most people have the truth within themselves. God gave you all the answers in you. You don't need to. The problem is we can't access it because we're too much caught in the mind. So a good coach is going to get you back into your truth, which is God that's inside of you, which is it's in there in your heart. You just have to get this shit out of the way.
Yeah, I love that.
Not Vogue. Like that's voguing. That's okay. You can Vogue occasionally.
Yeah.
But get the mental blocks out of the way. That's the problem, is the mental side.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. So obviously tremendous amount of value in just the little bit that you said there. Like, talk to us about, I know you have a program that you're rolling out, right? Talk to us a little bit about what that looks like.
Well, I'm very conscious of coming on, not trying to make a sale or something like that, but we know.
I totally get that, but obviously there's value, right? Like
sure, absolutely
can vouch for you just because I know the people that you've worked with. I've traveled around with you. Like, I believe in who you are and what you're doing. So I would like for you to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, I never really built the online business. We had this discussion a couple of times. Even I remember a year, 2 years ago, you were like, bro, come on, get on YouTube, do all these things. People need to hear you and so on. And I had my own stuff. I was in that old fashioned way of speaking on stage, and I never had to worry about online because the next client would come and the next client would come and so on. But then I realized I was being selfish, right? Because when I'm not sharing when I can help people, or any of us, we're not sharing the gift God gives us, it's selfish. Okay. So I finally started doing, online things, and I'm new to YouTube, but I have some stuff up there for the first time ever consistently. So maybe you can put that in the description. Yeah. But I always work with people one-to-one the last few years, really, and coaching. And for the first time ever, I've actually put together a group coaching program. And this has been so powerful because, seeing the accountability and support within a group is so powerful because people can rub off each other. They can bounce ideas off each other. They can network. So this new program is called the Entrepreneur Code, and it's from part-time income to full-time freedom. And the whole idea with this is a lot about what we talked about. First of all, getting clear on who you are, why you think the way you think, and healing that. A lot of people have traumas in their life from their parents, from when kids, and they're not addressing it. And, luckily I have a lot of experience. We didn't get into it today, but in understanding those traumas, why they occur and how they affect us, and that human behavior psychology, like why we get locked in these patterns, right? So the first thing about this course is we're going to go deep on that and show you how to heal all that kind of turmoil in your own mind.
Sure.
The next thing is about helping people create that vision. And I think a vision is, you hear it every day online, right? About your vision, everything, vision boards. The problem is people don't have a clear emotionally charged vision. And the reason they don't, okay, and how I can tell they don't is because they're so distracted every single day. And how many times you got to get your guys together and be like, hey, I need you to stay focused.
Sure. Without
a clear vision, you can never stay anchored. A vision keeps you anchored. It keeps you locked in on your path. It inoculates you from distraction. That's a clear vision, an emotionally charged, specific vision, not from the mind, from the heart. That's going to anchor you in. So we're going to do some work on that. Connected to that is about building that self-confidence, the self-image. And the self-image is so important because you have to be able to receive the success. I think we talked about this a few years ago. We talked about, sometimes we don't feel worthy. We have this imposter syndrome. We all get that, right? Like, we don't realize it consciously. It's subconscious. Our subconscious carries all the traumas from our lives. So unless your self-image allows you to receive the success, you will always have a ceiling.
Sure.
You could have bars of gold trying to give them for free and people won't take them if your self-image isn't in alignment with that version of you being successful.
Sure.
So I'm going to show you how to get that. And then the last part is the speaking and influence. At the end of the day, everything you want, other people have. Everything. You want to make sales, you need other people. You want a promotion, you need other people. You want a boyfriend, girlfriend, it's another person. So the ability to speak and to influence, the ability to master attraction and persuasion, these are key skills as an entrepreneur or as a professional. So this program is an 8-week program, dude. It's going to be insane. This first version, I'm calling it the founding members. I'm going to deliver it live. It's going to be recorded in the future when it goes to the public. Sure. Right now, I'm handpicking everybody. So I'm delivering it live, and I care about transformations on this. I want a small group of people to have a huge transformation because of this 8 weeks. They're going to get lifetime access. It's going to be insane. They're going to get a better price than the public version in a few months. So that's all starting April 13th. So, if any of your guys ain't watching this wants to get on, they better act fast.
Sure. And if they do, would you, obviously, because they're coming from the Kennected family, right? Would you give them a deal?
Always always a hustler, boy, Cody. Always a hustler with you. Yeah, what I would say to people is if they reach out straight away, I mean, if on Instagram it's Aidan O'Brien official, they can send me a message or tell me they're interested. I'll have a call with them. The call is free, and that will, I want to see where they're at. Then they probably got a feeling from me here, but they can also get, on the call, and then we can both decide if it's the right fit. I will do something. As anyone that comes with the Kennected family, just let me know they're from you or from Kennected, and for sure we will give them a couple of $100 off on the price, because I know you're building a massive organization and you're not thinking of America, you're thinking global. And I'm going to be selfish and say, I'd love to play a part in that success story. I'd love to play a part in it. So I'm going to get something out of it. You're going to get something out of it. It's a win-win for everybody. The people who do the program are going to get the biggest benefit.
I love that.
Because even from this is free, but you can imagine how deep we can go in an 8-week program. So send a DM, a message, or what we'll do is I'll send you a link specific for Kennected, and you can put that also in the show notes as well in an email. How's that sound?
That's awesome, man. Thank you for that. And then last but not least, give 1 or 2 pieces of advice that people can leave this video with, that they can actually apply, so they're going to actually see immediate results off of.
The first thing really is like we talked about today, it's just asking themselves the right question. I always say the right question is always the answer. The problem is you're not asking yourself the right questions. You're thinking the same way every day. And when you're in this mind, I always talk about mindfulness being a waste of time. You need heartfulness. I want people to start thinking about their future, from their heart. And it sounds cheesy, it sounds corny or whatever, but this is the truth, man. Like, the kingdom we are seeking is in our hearts. And I know a lot of you young guys watching this are like, what is he on about? But I can tell you, after 14 years as a speaker, 11 years as an entrepreneur, traveling all around the world for the last 10 years, living a good lifestyle, I can tell you everything we're seeking, from the watches, the cars, the houses, the places, to driving the nice cars, all amazing. I love all of them. But the truth, the kingdom we are seeking is in ourselves. God has given us all of that within us. So I would just say the first thing is just to ask yourself some new questions. Like, who am I really? Ask yourself, am I who I truly meant to be, or am I who people have told me I should be? Because most people are acting like based on who other people's expectations are of them. Let's say your parents and their parents are all in medicine, so you feel like, I got to be in medicine. Or your parents are in sales or network marketing, entrepreneurship, so I got to be an entrepreneur, or whatever it is. This generational curse almost. Also the environment. People from my area are always working on the farm, because all farms around. People from my area are always in whatever. Ask yourself the real question: am I who people tell me I should be, or am I really who I want to be?
Right.
And that's going to set you free, man. That's going to set you free. I mean, I think that's enough of a place to start.
I don't even think we did question number 2 answered. That there.
No,
apply that. Let's start, dude. That's sick. I love that.
Yeah, let's start there. And the truth, everything starts with the truth. You can't even have love without truth. So let's people find their truth right now, set themselves free, and then the power that you can tap into.
I love it, man, dude. Well, first off, that was knowledge bombs right there, man. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for joining. Thank you for giving value to our community. Guys, we will provide a link so that you can connect with Aidan one-on-one, send him a DM or email or whatever type of link we put in here. But man, once again, thank you so much for just adding a tremendous amount of value. Unfortunately, I'm not in Spain right now. I'm in Indianapolis, but maybe
you're welcome. I'm gonna be here for the summer, so come out.
Yeah, dude, I'll definitely check it out. And we still got to do our trip in Ireland for the week. So I'm looking forward to that.
Absolutely. Yeah. When things open up, for sure. I can only do a week or 2 at a time because of the rain. So let's lock it down at a time. And, I think we should do a tour and we should vlog it. I think that would be something for the people. If we did a week and vlogged your Cody in Ireland, that would be insane.
How much did Cody improve while he was on his trip with Aidan? That's what everybody's going to want to know.
He's going to develop in skills, but his stability, his awareness maybe might be affected by some other issues.
Oh man,
we won't talk about that, but when in Ireland, as they say.
Oh man, that's funny. Well, Aidan, I appreciate you, man. Love you as always, dude.
Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate what you're doing, dude. Because even a year ago when I was living in Miami, we were having those conversations. We did a bit of stuff together. And what you've done in the years is insane, dude. You're an inspiration to me since I met you. All your people, Devin, Elliot, all the guys, Brandon, amazing guys. And what you guys have done is insane. And I can't wait to see the next months and years for you guys. It's going to be off the charts.
I appreciate that, man. Together, we'll rise up together.
So. Absolutely. We're going to do stuff. America's us Irish, we built that country, really. Let's be honest here. You know what I mean? So I need to come back over and get some rent due here to my Irish blood. So I'm gonna come over and do some things there, which is as we talked about.
That's awesome, man. I love it. Well, welcome anytime, brother. So guys,
thanks again.
Aidan O'Brien, the one, the only, the legend. And thank you for everybody that joined today. And we'll make sure we get those links there. So
awesome. Appreciate it, buddy. Talk to you later, dude. See you guys. Bye.